Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the ADHD Families podcast. I am so excited to have you here. Now today's episode I'm going to be talking a little bit about the functional family story and what you can expect in the podcast going forward, because I really want this to be a safe place for you to be inspired and get some practical tools on how you can help your family. So first up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why the functional family came to be. The functional family was created to support families just like mine, families with kids with ADHD. So I'm going to give you a little backstory about that now. So my husband grew up, he had very severe ADHD, and when he was in school, he struggled with it big time. It was like the 80s, 90s, and we didn't have the knowledge about ADHD that we do today. And he grew up with this big stigma, believing that he was a naughty kid. He was never invited to birthday parties. He was pretty much banned from the classroom. He used to get into lots of fights because no one understood his ADHD and supported him in that way. His parents were wonderful in supporting him, but there wasn't the knowledge that we have today about the framework that we could put in place to help kids with ADHD. And so when my first son was diagnosed, it wasn't a surprise to me. I knew that he had something going on because him and my husband are two peas in a pod. They are exactly the same. They may as well be the same person. So I knew there was something going on for him. And when he was diagnosed formally, I looked around for some support. So I could find lots of things about how to help the child and strategies for the child specifically, but there was nothing on how we could operate as a family. And our home life was chaos. It was madness, as you would have heard in the intro. We had Anthony who couldn't regulate, Xavier who couldn't regulate, there was stuff going everywhere, me who was just getting burnt out. And so I began to research ADHD and experiment. I ran experiments on my own family to see if I could find some strategies to help my family. I was interested in anything that would make our lives easier as a family and anything that would support Xavier in becoming a functional adult, because I really wanted him to have a different experience to what Anthony had had growing up. And I used to run these crazy little experiments in our family. We tried and tested every diet, therapy that we could to see if I could help my little boy, and I documented everything and really came up with some strategies that worked. Some were spectacular fails, but I wanted to increase my knowledge about ADHD before going on studying it formally as I am now. And in that time of running these experiments, I had two other little boys that also have ADHD, and we've got some other letters in there as well. We've got some Tourette's, we've got some SPD, some ODD. You guys will know all those little what those stand for. So we've got a complicated home life, and what I was finding is that I was just burning out. It was really quite challenging for me as the primary caregiver. My husband's away a lot for work, he works long hours, and I was just buckling under the pressure of raising three kids that are such high need and needed so much from me all the time, and lots of support. So I started, once I documented what was working and what wasn't working, I started looking at trialing different systems, using visual cues and different things that I could do to make those predictable problems that we have as a family. Those times, like, it's not the big meltdowns that I find exhaust us, it's all those little points of conflict that you face day in, day out that really grind your gears and grind you down. So I was looking at putting different framework around those points of friction or predictable problems so I could make those moments easier for ourselves, so we could get the kids to school without feeling like you've done a whole day already and crying in the car like I used to do, or get them to bed at night and feel like you've got a little bit more energy to give and a little bit more energy to read them a bedtime story. You're not just thinking, oh my God, no one talked to me, because it has been a hell of a day. So all these systems and strategies I'm really excited to share with you, and share a little bit about what we do as a family, what works, what doesn't work, little trials that come up. I often say new levels, new devils as kids get older. So a little bit of background about our family. We've got Anthony, who has probably the most severe ADHD that I've ever come across. Now, I'm an ADHD coach, and I still think he is on the most extreme end. especially in terms of hyperactivity. And then we've got Xavier, who's currently 13, Ashton, who's 9, and Harvey, who's 7. And we've got some definite ways that we can help you as a family have an easier, happier life, a life that's full of joy with ADHD. We know it's important to leave room for joy. Life cannot be all a struggle. It's just not sustainable to be this stressed all the time. So I'm really excited to be sharing with you some strategies to help you and your family as well. A little bit about what we do here at The Functional Family. If you haven't already, check out our website. It's www.thefunctionalfamily.com, and we have a 6-week online program that steps you through everything that you need to know as a parent of ADHD kids. I do one-on-one coaching, and we also have a membership coming out in 2023 as well. So we've got lots of things. There's lots of free resources under the podcast and blogs as well. So jump in there and get involved. Take what you need to from the website. There is a free, really large supportive Facebook group. It's called the Functional ADHD and Families, the Functional Family Group. There's a link to it on the website as well. So jump in there and you can give and receive support and really have a large community surround you of families that are going through a similar journey to you. It's a beautiful, kind, supportive space. And I really encourage you to get involved, because one of the things that we hear from parents is that how isolating this journey can be, especially when you're surrounded by people that don't understand ADHD or our beautiful neurodivergent kids. And so you've got that community there waiting for you, waiting to support you. Now, this podcast is going to be full of practical tips. We are going to make sure that we finish everything on some key takeaways or things that you can do to make your life easier, make your life more streamlined, help raise functional adults with ADHD or work with the ADHD brain. The episodes will run, there'll be an individual one with me where I'm talking about a specific topic for the day. We will also interview some key players in the industry about ADHD, maybe their story of being neurodivergent or different helpful tips that you can take away from these wonderful interviews. And then I'm going to be featuring you guys as well. So I would love it if you can write in maybe a story that you have about ADHD. Maybe it's a way that you were diagnosed or your child was diagnosed. Maybe it's something that you've overcome. Maybe it's how you've used ADHD as an advantage. So you can send them to me at sharon@thefunctionalfamily.com and I will read them out. You can remain anonymous, but it's about giving your story and your family's story a voice as well, and different ways that we can share and become a community and hear from other people, not just my family as well. I want to hear from you guys, so feel free to write into those Listener Tales episodes. And then we're going to have a Q&A component so people can write into me with any issues that they're facing, and we can brainstorm some solutions for those predictable problems that they might be experiencing. So I'm so excited to have you join us, and welcome to the community. I am super proud to have this wonderful company that's helped so many families, and I'm so happy to have you here as a part of it. Thank you, and I can't wait for you to see what's coming your way.